Many of you would switch off the moment someone like me would stand on stage. You see, just a tick box young person that has to have the slot to speak, right? If I had £1 for every time someone said to me, give it 20 years, then you can voice your opinion. At 16 years old, I started a youth-led campaign here in Wales called the Love Your Period campaign, with an aim of starting conversations from a youth-led perspective around periods, hormones, and wider puberty. 7 years on, and we do have a space, but also a national plan that makes sure we're having these conversations, as well as providing the products that people need to have safe periods countrywide. I was inspired by my own diagnosis with a brain tumor that came with many hormonal symptoms, so gave myself the role to make rooms like this feel uncomfortable in order to get comfortable, in the hope that we may save some lives along the way. We're talking today about youth activism, if you haven't gathered by now. And I know what many of you are thinking already, but Molly, we don't need to talk about this anymore. We've got so many youth panels, so many youth boards. And in the very building we're in today, in the heart of Wales, we have a huge youth parliament. And you're right, we do, and those things are awesome. However, how often are young people invited to the table simply as decoration? And can you tell me, as someone who has sat on many panels and many boards, why I never meet the people on the panel or the board, or even get the chance to be on it? We are seen and we are listened to, but very rarely are we heard. And we may be invited in special circumstances, but rarely are we trusted to shape. And we find ourselves stuck in circles and broken cycles that mean we are having the same conversations we were having 7 years ago when I began, except now with more added and growing barriers. Many people argue, but the younger generation don't actually care. You're just saying this, Molly. But the policy and research firm Elderman in 2022 found that 70% of the Gen Z population are involved in some form of activism. And this is huge numbers of people regularly partaking in changing our world. But let's strip it back a moment to the word itself, activism. It begins with another word that I think all of us will be able to relate to a little bit more. Act. And we all do that, whether it is on these big global stages and massive news headlines, or simply whoever you're with here tonight, you're debating about where you're going to go for dinner after this. We're all acting, and we all have the privilege just by being here and the duty to be better activists. But the problem is it's not always safe to do so. Many people in our nation are vulnerable and practically silenced, and I know what that's like. During the height of my illness, I stopped speaking to everyone, except for my younger sister, who became my main carer and full-time advocate. You see, the more unwell I got, the less people were using my name, and I was tired of screaming into spaces for help where I wasn't even seen as a human being, so I just stopped. But I think that's the time when my voice grew the most. Not because anyone gave me a voice. And I think we need to get rid of that phrase. We are never giving someone a voice, and we need to focus more on facilitating the safe spaces to ensure they use the voices that we all have. The moment that I realized my privilege of being alive, let alone being able to speak and be an activist with this tumor inside my brain, and found just one person who facilitated my safe space to not just trust my voice again, but feel comfortable using it, I was able to extract the adrenaline from fear and turn it into change. Because there are so many scary things happening across our world. And yeah, brain tumors are really scary. But why are there activists? Because bad things are happening. The world is a terrifying place. Look around us. There's violence, conflict, a climate crisis, so much hate. And it's overwhelming. And I'm terrified. And I know that many of you are too. You may hear many activists say, I hear it a lot and I love the phrase, the time to act was yesterday. And they're right. But imagine sitting and experiencing the fear of the state of the world we've just heard about above, and then being told that your future depends on decisions being made today about issues that issues that will soon be too late to go back on, and then being told that you're not allowed in the room where those decisions are being made. Or if you are allowed in the room, it's often performative, and we notice. So what now? We've talked a lot. Now it's time for meaningful action. And yes, I'm addressing every single one of you in the audience today, because simply by being here, you have the privilege of being able to act. And even more so, you have the social duty. Because youth-led change and youth voices are not optional. They're essential, and the legacies that you are trying to build, it's people like me that will carry them forward. But how am I supposed to do that if you don't include me now? The moment that you exclude the future generation, your work is no longer future-proof. You are already falling behind. Let's stop focusing on handing out seats at the table and ensure the seats that go out are handed out with the power to be heard at that table. And let's get rid of the phrase, we're giving people voices, and focus on the safe spaces, because right now, not just young people, but lots of people of all ages across our nation are being silenced, punished, and ignored. And that is not inclusion, that is control. So I'm asking you, when you walk out today, are you ready to be stuck in these broken cycles? Or are you ready to work together across generations to innovate and create change that may actually give us a chance? I really hope I've convinced you of the latter. 3 years ago, I was silent. And tonight, I'm stood on a TEDx stage. I am terrified for my future. I have lost so many of my friends to brain tumors, activists with such loud voices that have had their voices taken away. And as an activist, I am here. I am here to learn, to unlearn, to create, to build, to work together, to collaborate, and to reevaluate myself daily. And I'm asking you to do the same. Because if you're not including us in building the future, then whose future are you really building? Thank you.